Okay, this is the second video in this series. And for this part, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into actually looking for resources in the databases. Before I do that, I did want to spend a wee bit more time on these last couple of pages, which I had to kind of rush through. So let me just show you the getting full text. The purpose of this is to just remind you that when you are looking for the actual article itself, the full text of the article, most of the time you're going to find that in the via the library database. You may see an option for a PDF. That would be the easiest way to get the article. But if there's no PDF available, then look for the link for article linker or check availability. Whoops, didn't mean to scooch back there. Okay, that'll give you access to the library's subscriptions where you can get the full text. If there is no full text via article linker, then article linker will give you an option to get the article via Google Scholar. Oftentimes, not always, but frequently, authors may archive the article on their institution's repository, and in which case you can access it that way. The article linker will also give you a link to get the full text through interlibrary loan. And that is an option by which you can get the article at no charge within about 24 hours. If you know the DOI for the article, you can also try using the citation linker. Just put in the full DOI or the PubMed ID and you'll be able to see if you can get the article that way. So there's more information here on interlibrary loan and how that works. And you can always ask me a question about that if you have one. Writing and citing. There's mostly stuff on this page on APA citation style. I want to point out a couple of my favorite links. The Purdue OWL, of course. This one right here, Research and Documentation. Publisher monetized it and so took the site down, but it's still available via the Internet Archive. And what I like about this site is that it gives a lot of examples of different types of references, and that can be handy, especially if there's not a nice, neat citation for it. This is especially helpful when you're doing web pages too. Over here off to the right are a couple of literature matrices. These are basically just what I call graphic organizers or charts that help you take notes, keep track of some of the most important ideas from the articles as you're reading. If you save this in Google Scholar or just even use it as a Word doc, it will expand, and you certainly want to focus on how it applies to your research question. So students often find these helpful. The other one focuses more on comparing and contrasting certain aspects of your topic. Pardon me, losing my voice here. And finally, there are some links here for reference management systems that you may use. RefWorks and EndNote Online are two paid-for systems that the library uses. Mendeley and Zotero are free ones. Let me just show you what RefWorks looks like so you can get an idea. I recommend you create, if you're going to use RefWorks, to create an account in new RefWorks. I am continuing to use Legacy just because it's what I'm familiar with. And basically, it's a storage place for you to put all of your citations, organize them in folders, and then when it comes time to writing your paper and creating bibliography, you can just go into that folder and select your citation style and create a bibliography. It will also help you with in-text citing, and that's under Tools. You would download the Write and Cite plugin for your computer. This is also available in the library should you wander into the library and want to use our computers, but otherwise you can download this on your own computer. And if you need any help in using any of these resources, RefWorks has their own YouTube channel, which is fabulous, and you can literally teach yourself how to use it. So I recommend that you have some method for tracking your references, especially as you move through the program. And you'll probably stick with whatever you're going to develop. I already talked about help, how you can get in touch with me. The final tab, I did want to let you know that Dr. Jackson and I would like you to complete this by June 11th. And there are just 4 basic questions that are going to require you to search for a known book. That is a book that the library does own, and an article that we have. And you're going to have to go into the book and into the article and answer a question about it. So after June 11th, I'll let Dr. Jackson know who has completed this. So if you have more questions, you can ask either her or me about that. I've already talked a little bit about finding books, so I'm going to go into finding articles and just show you the databases here, the major databases, which you're probably going to use primarily, CINAHL Complete and PubMed. Now you can use Medline Complete. That is also an EBSCO database like CINAHL. It's very similar to PubMed. For the most part, you're probably going to want to focus on PubMed. That's the freely available one that you're going to use once you graduated. Over here off to the right are some excellent tutorials. The 2 I recommend especially would be the PubMed for nurses. This was a tutorial created by the National Library of Medicine. It's excellent, and there's like videos embedded in it, and they talk about the various filters that you can use and how to find clinical queries and how to do a simple search as well. So check that one out. The CINAHL Support Center also has a number of tutorials here, like a advanced searching tutorial, basic searching tutorial. So I recommend that you check those out as well. The second set of databases here are some specialized nursing databases you might want to consider using. Particularly Health Source Nursing Academic Edition. You're always going to get slightly different coverage in different databases. There will be some overlap, but they use different indexing. So you do sometimes turn up different results if you're trying to do a comprehensive search. The related databases for nursing, these are the interdisciplinary ones, and there is a link to Google Scholar here, as well as Web of Science. Web of Science is valuable because it represents more influential, high-impact journals. So if you kind of want to find the best of the best, you might use Web of Science. And down at the bottom, of course, is our search box. This is very handy for finding those known items. If you have a book title, for example, that you're interested in, you could look for it in here. Just make sure you put it in quotation marks. So I'm going to do, couldn't think of the name of the book, Tom Sawyer, right? And putting it in quotation marks is going to help you with that. And then if you know that it's a book, you can limit it by source types and so on and so forth, and then get the information that you need to find that particular article. So here is an article that we have. It's an ebook, and you would be able to go into it from there. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Going up to the top here then to PubMed, where PubMed is super helpful. One of the very nice features, if you may already know this, if you've already used it, but it will actually automatically map your terms to the medical subject headings, which we talked about before. So let me show you what I mean. If I do like nursing home and elderly and geriatric, what it does over here under search detail is that it will search for your terms as keywords, but it also maps it automatically to the medical subject heading. So in this case, the term I typed in, nursing homes, was the medical subject heading. It searched for it as a keyword too. And then it searched for elderly, but it mapped it to the medical subject heading of aged. And likewise with geriatric, right? What did I type in? I did, oh, elderly and geriatrics. Sorry, I meant to do Alzheimer's. Okay, try that. Those were synonyms for each other. So down, let's see what it does with Alzheimer. It actually maps it to Alzheimer's disease. All right, so PubMed is kind of unique with its filters in that it requires you to select the filters, to show them, and then you select them. So in this case, I've already selected nursing journals. That's very handy if you're trying to find a nursing focus. I've also already selected English, which is good. Publication date, you know, that's up to your professor. Check with her or him to see how far back you may go. And then I think the article types are really cool in PubMed because there's so many of them that you can actually select what types of article types you want to display. I only have a sampling of them. I'm going to deselect review. So with the different types of studies that I've selected, I actually have now a set of 10 records. So let me pick one of these. I'm going to, you've probably, if you've used PubMed before, you're familiar, you know there's an abstract and keywords here you can use. Over here off to the right is the link that you want to look for. You can try the full text article here. If that doesn't work, then use the library's article linker. And normally you can get to it that way. If for some reason it wasn't available, you could click on that link up there, and you'll notice down here, this is where I was talking about, where you can also search for the article via Google Scholar. Right, and here are some HTML links, and you can see this is on an Alzheimer's and dementia website. And there's also a link here to submit a request through interlibrary loan should we not have it. When you, let me go back there, just show you that. When you log into into your ILLIAD account for interlibrary loan, just make sure you type in your full email address, and then you'll type in your email password here. And as a first-time user, you will need to actually enter your user information here. And then once you've done that, it will take you back to the form here. Let me see here, main menu, if I can get back to it that way. And then just make sure this is the article request form. Once that's filled out, just make sure there's no missing fields in the missing information in the red starred fields, then you would submit the request. When the article becomes available, you'll get an email that links to this. You just go to that link, received articles, and then you'll be able to download the PDF of the article. It's usually kept here for about 2 months, so just make sure at some point that you go in and download it, print it, save it, or all of the above. So let me get out of here. So the only other thing I did want to say about PubMed is that make sure that you do use PubMed. The link rather on our webpage, if you'll notice up here, we have registered with PubMed and they have issued us a particular identifier that's part of the URL. So that is the part that is going to give you access to our subscriptions. If you just go to the regular PubMed, you will not get access to the necessarily to the full text if you're off campus. All right, so that is basically a quick overview of some of the library's resources, services. Remember that you can contact me for assistance if you need it. If I'm not available, use the Ask Now service. If chat is offline, you can search our knowledge base, look for an answer to your question here, or submit a question and someone will answer you within 24 hours. So I look forward to working with you. I wish you all the best as you start on your career, and I'm eager to work with you. Thanks.